Hello, everyone, and welcome to our NCAA Initial Eligibility for Division III Compliance Administrators webinar today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for joining us today. My name is Daniel Scotto, and I'm the Coordinator for Communications here at the NCAA Eligibility Center. Joining me today will be Erica Clagas, who is the Assistant Director of Academic and Managerial Review. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started today. Your cameras are off and your mics are off, but we do want to hear from you. So please use the Q&A function at the top of your screen to ask any questions that you may have throughout today's presentation, as we have teams standing by to answer those questions. Please leave your email with those questions that you may have so we can get back to you if we don't have time to get to your question today. One final reminder, this is being recorded and the presentation will be sent to you after today. So please check your email in the coming days with today's presentation and recording. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and look at today's agenda. So looking at our agenda today, we'll be looking at the review of what the Eligibility Center does and looking at some definitions. And then Eric will be going into Division III by the numbers. And then she'll be going through the membership portal, looking at the portal and what it does and its portal functions. And then at the end, we're going to end with some resources. Okay, so the NCAA Eligibility Center, who are we? So we're a unit within the NCAA that does the certification of the college-bound student athletes. We like to consider ourselves the front door of the NCAA. We review those academic requirements and imagerism requirements, and we do this to create the fair and equitable competition across the NCAA schools and divisions. So we like to say we'll come out front and we'll greet you and we'll get you through the process. Now we'll be looking at some definitions and acronyms that we use here commonly at the NCAA. The first will be that PSA that you see on your screen, prospective student athlete, commonly referred to as the recruit or the college-bound student athlete. Another important one that we use is IRL, Institutional Request List. When a school like yourself has a list of recruits, a student will get added to that IRL and they'll notify the Eligibility Center that in this case, a Division III amateurism certification is needed for that prospective student athlete. Finally, the certification account. So there's two types. There's academic and amateurism certification and then amateurism only certification. We're going to focus on the amateurism only certification one today a lot. Erica will go more into detail about that as it's more applicable for the Division III audience and then the recruits coming from Division III. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Erica.
Thank you, Daniel. Again, my name is Erica Clagas, and I am Assistant Director of Academic and Amateurism Review. Many of you may know me from previous webinars or from regional rules over the past few years. I am happy to be back in front of you today to talk about how we can use our resources to help your student athletes through the Eligibility Center certification. This year's webinar is geared towards people who are new to the role in compliance or new to working with the Eligibility Center, but I think it'll be valuable for those of you who have gone through a certification already. We're going to do things a little bit differently this year. We have gotten consistent feedback that says, it would be really helpful if someone would show me through the membership portal. Just share your screen and walk me through it. So that is what we're going to do today. I encourage you to open up your portal and follow along with us. I also encourage you to leave your questions in the chat as we go along. As Daniel said, we've got members of our staff ready to answer your questions in the chat, but please leave your contact email address in case we can't get to your questions live. We can have a member of our customer service team follow up with you after the webinar. We will also use these questions to inform what we put in our newsletters and other materials. So if you are thinking it, there is a good chance someone else is too. Feel free to put that question in the chat and we will get you your answer. Before we get started though, let's review the numbers to this point in fall 2024. So we are up to 350 Division III schools who have activated their EC app and have access to the membership portal. That's most of Division III at this point, and we're going to keep going until we hit that 100% mark. Last year, we reported that about 60% of Division III schools had activated at least one IRL and gone through a certification. This year, we're up to about 70% of Division III, if you consider both last year and this year. And most of the schools who came through last year are back again this year. So we know that there are Division III schools that just don't have any international student athletes. So we are overall pleased with this process. But the most important number here is 1,853 distinct Division III IRLs this cycle. This number is consistent with where we were this time last year, and we've been able to maintain our 5 business day service standard throughout the summer and into the fall. The next few slides will be a brief recap of the certification process, and then we're going to get into the membership portal. So here we start with a 10,000-foot view of an amateurism certification. Step number 1 is actually completed by the prospective student athlete when they register for their certification account. So if a prospect is registering for a new account, we want to have them register with an amateurism only certification account. If they already have an academic and amateurism certification account, they don't need to register for a second certification account. We can go ahead and use that existing one. But again, if it's a new one, let's have them only register for the amateurism only account so that they're not having to pay for additional services that they're not going to use for Division III. Step number 2 is where you come in. So by accessing the membership portal through the Eligibility Center app in My Apps, we can go ahead and move into steps number 3 and 4, which can happen in either order. Once the prospect is registered, 2 things need to happen. They need to be added to an active IRL, and they need to request a final amateurism certification. So they can request their final amateurism certification without an active IRL, and they can also be added to an IRL even if they have not requested their final amateurism certification. But they won't be in line to receive a final decision until both of those things have happened. And so once steps 3 and 4 have happened, the Eligibility Center steps in and reviews the account and ultimately will render a decision. And then finally, the institution and the prospect are both notified. Now let's talk about the membership portal and how you can use it to assist your student athlete through the certification. So what is the membership portal? The membership portal is your go-to application for all things Eligibility Center. This includes important information, updates, policies and procedures, tutorials, publications, and forms. It is also where we post all of our webinar recordings and the related PDFs in the following days. So you will find today's webinar materials in the resource links tab in the coming days, and I will show you where you'll be able to find those here later in this webinar. So starting at the very beginning, you will find the membership portal through the Eligibility Center app. It will look like the EC tile in the picture here. If you do not have that tile, you'll need to talk to your applications administrator on campus. We've put the link to find your applications administrator's contact information in the chat if you need it. There's also a clickable link here that will be in the PDF version of these materials when we post it to the portal. If you have any questions or need further assistance, you'll want to contact our Eligibility Center customer service team at 877-544-2950 or contact them at webhelpdesk@ncaa.org. Next, I want to talk about the Eligibility Center contacts list. This list is the list of people who will interact with the Eligibility Center staff to work through certification. So Eligibility Center staff can only share student-specific information with the people on this list. Each school can have up to 10 people on their contact list, and the first 2 people will automatically receive the Eligibility Center's Division III membership newsletter. There are different levels of access to the membership portal, which is established by your applications administrator. So if you think you need a different level of access, you will want to talk to your administrator. And when you think about who should be included in your school's contact list, I would think about including people with these roles. So first person on your list should be your senior or primary compliance administrator. And then the second should probably be your athletics director. And then after that, I would consider including your faculty athletics rep, your registrar, or an admissions representative, somebody who may be responsible for submitting matriculation dates to the Eligibility Center. And then lastly, if you have any additional compliance representatives on campus, you can go ahead and include them in your list as well. So a quick QR code here for you. If you are not one of the top 2 contacts in your school's contact list, you can go ahead and use this QR code to sign up for the Division III membership newsletter. Our newsletter goes out monthly and will be the source for the most up-to-date information that the Eligibility Center is going to release for the Division III membership. And while you've got your phones out, feel free to grab the QR code here for the Membership Portal Quick Start Guide. This is a great resource to have open the first few times you're clicking around through the portal. And it's also great to refer back to even when you feel a little bit more comfortable in there. The Quick Start Guide can answer a lot of your quick hit questions, or if there's something specific that you're looking to do in the portal. And once you are in the portal, there are 5 main things that you are probably going to use the portal for the most. And we're going to talk about each of these. So we're going to talk about activating student athletes to your IRL, monitoring progress of specific accounts, submitting additional information when we ask for it, updating your sports sponsored list, and then accessing resources and support. So remember, Daniel told us that the IRL means the institutional request list, or the list of prospects the school is interested in recruiting. The IRL tells the Eligibility Center what accounts we need to prioritize. So due to inventory constraints, we're just not able to review every student athlete who is registered for an account. So this is what we use to ensure that everyone who needs a certification can get one. And to drive this point home, even if the prospect has completed their certification account and has requested their final amateurism certification, remember, they are not even in line to get a decision if they're not on an active IRL. So let's talk about how to activate an IRL. So once you click the Eligibility Center tile in your My Apps, you are going to see the landing page here in the membership portal. So just a disclaimer that this is we're going to be using test accounts and staff view accounts. So you may see something that looks slightly different, or maybe the drop downs at the very top of the page may look a little bit different for you. Just know that everything we're going through, you should see something very similar on your end in your membership portal. It just might look slightly different just because of access options that I've got available to me. So to get started activating your IRL, you're going to hover over the IRL tab and choose the IRL activation in the dropdown. You are going to fill in your search criteria, so using demographic information or the ID number, which is preferable. And then I also would recommend that you search your student account types using all account types. So you can search academic and amateurism only. So those are your certification account types. You can search individually by each one of those. You can search for profile, or you can search for all account types. So that is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to search for a prospect named Robert Smith. And down at the bottom, I'm going to hit Go Search. So you will see that there are a lot of Robert Smiths. That is why looking with an ID number is preferable. You can narrow it down to the exact Robert Smith that you're looking for. I also wanted to use this because you will see right here, I think 5th prospect down has a profile page account. You are able to activate profile pages to IRLs, but you are not going to get the benefits of a certification account with a profile page account, right? So you won't be able to pull the student detail report that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, or upload documents into their account. They won't get a final decision with a profile page, if you see a profile page when you are activating an IRL, I would have you reach out or your coach reach out to the recruit and ask them to transition to an amateurism only certification account type. We will talk here in a little bit about what to do if you just cannot locate your PSA or if you're having a hard time adding them to an IRL. Once you found the PSA you were looking for, you're going to check the box next to their name and the sport that they play in, and click the activate button at the bottom. And there you have it. Your student athlete has been activated. So now let's talk about deactivating an IRL. So you may end up with a prospect on your IRL that doesn't end up going to your school or doesn't end up joining the team. Removing prospects who are not coming to school or don't need a certification takes those athletes out of our inventory, letting us, again, prioritize those who will come to campus and do need a decision. So in this case, you can deactivate through the IRL deactivation tab. So again, hover over IRL and go down here to the IRL deactivation option. You can go back to the home landing page, but you can navigate directly to IRL deactivation or to anywhere within the membership portal without having to go back to that landing page. So here, you're going to search for your PSA using all the same information. But what's nice about the deactivation option is that these prospects are already on your IRL. So you can search for them by their ID number, but you can just as easily search by, say, the team. So we're going to search for the golf team and choose Go Search. This is going to bring up everyone on our golf team, but it's only 3 prospective student athletes, so a little bit easier. Here we're going to choose the prospect who we are trying to deactivate from our IRL. We're going to click the box next to their ID number and select deactivate. Your student athlete has been deactivated from your IRL. All right, so there are a number of reasons why you may not be able to locate your PSA in the portal, or why you won't be able to activate them to your IRL. First, they may just not have an Eligibility Center account. So you will want to have them register for that amateurism only certification account type. Again, you may be searching for certification accounts and the PSA only has a profile page account. So I would try expanding your search criteria to include all account types. You may have a PSA with only a profile page account, which again will allow you to find them and activate them, but again does not give you the benefits of activating an IRL with a certification account. And lastly, it could just be that the information that you're searching by is incorrect. So their name is spelled wrong, or the ID number is off by a digit, or maybe there are so many Robert Smiths that you don't know which one is the correct one. I would check that the information you're searching with is correct. You can try searching by another method, so narrowing it down by the country that they live in, or using their sport. And if all else fails, check back with the prospect to make sure that you have the right information. If you absolutely cannot find the PSA that you're looking for and you are confident you have the correct information, you'll want to reach out to the Eligibility Center customer service staff. They can help troubleshoot any further options you have to try to help resolve the issue and find that account. So the first place is the contact us option in the membership portal. This has a 3 business day turnaround time. So it's not ideal for when you have an urgent question, but it is a great option for when you can just shoot off a quick question and you have time to wait for a response. We'll talk in a little bit about the contact information to get directly to the school for those urgent requests here in a little bit. And we've talked through how to activate and deactivate your IRLs. Now what we want to talk about is what to do with those accounts once they are active. How can we help your prospects once you've identified them? So we will talk about now how to monitor the progress of your prospects. So let's start by looking at the student details report, which is going to give you a lot of details about an account all in one place. So have they requested their final amateurism? What is their self-reported enrollment date? Are there open tasks? And most importantly, do they have a certification decision? So to find the student details report, we are going to go to the reports dropdown and choose the search student details report. Within the search student details tab is an option to search your IRL by demographic, by sport, specific details. You can search for a specific ID number, but you can also search by an entire team so that you can check each team to make sure where that team stands. So today I am going to search using the women's ice hockey team. And I want to stop here and show you the recruitment cycle. So we are going to default to the current recruitment cycle. Right now, that is 2024. You can search previous IRL cycles. You can also search future IRL cycles. And then I wanted to show you the search criteria here. A lot of the search criteria options are specific to academic certifications. So the only one I'm really going to point out is the one that says, have they requested their final amateurism certification? Yes or no. What's really nice about this is you can take a look and see who has not even requested their final amateurism certification. You can send that list to your coach and say, hey, coach, please make sure they request their final amateurism decision so we can get them playing. But for right now, I'm going to include that in the don't use in search. So again, we're searching women's ice hockey with the 2024 recruitment cycle, and we are going to hit the go search options, which pulls up every women's ice hockey player on our 24-25 cycle. It's really nice that you can pull a report about a specific prospect or the entire team. You can also print this report. So you have the option to export the full report to a PDF. You can also export a report to Excel or export to a PDF. So again, you can send that directly to your coach and tell them to work on whatever it is you need to do to get the entire team certified. Once you have searched for and found the particular prospect you're looking for, you're going to choose the box next to their ID number here. That's a little condensed because I had to zoom in here, but choose the box next to the ID number and choose Get PSA Details. So there are a couple different views that you can use here. The first is simply clicking the PSA's name right here, and this will show you the full information, all of the information about their account. So first of all, demographic information, and then we get to academic information, which that means that this student athlete has an academic and amateurism certification account. If they had an amateurism only certification account type, this just would not be listed in this view. You can scroll down to find their amateurism certification decisions, and we can see that this prospect is final certified for all 3 divisions. You could also see that they are pending review, certified with conditions, final not certified, or not applicable. So we will talk about all of these account statuses in more detail later in this webinar. And then next we get into some high school information, your IRL information. You can see she's on an IRL for both the 23-24 and 24-25 IRL cycles. That just happens with prospects who are recruited and not necessarily sure when they will enroll. NLI information indicates if they had signed an NLI with Division I or Division II, but otherwise not something that you would use in Division III. And then we're going to move down here into student tasks. So the student task information will give you the task name, when it was assigned, the date that it was closed, if it has been closed, and then more information about the task. So here's where you can keep up with the tasks that they have open, but then we're going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom, and you're going to find down here, again, this is because this is my view and not an institutional view. You would normally see a bar right here that says click here to access student documents. this is where you would go in to see all of the documents that we used to make a decision about a prospective student athlete certification. That could be incoming emails, it could be research documents. All of those documents would be found within this link. I cannot show that to you because I just don't have access to it, but this is the entire certification account in one place. You can also, by scrolling back up to the top here, choose the IRL or the NCAA ID number for the prospective student athlete, which opens up a second tab. And then there's within that tab an export to PDF option where you would export all of that information into a PDF that you could save for your own records. Okay, so we are going to talk about some additional reports that we have to show you. So I'm going to close out of here and we're going to go back to the reports tab. And this time we're going to choose additional reports. So there are 6 reports here. Ones that you will use most often are probably the 2 open task reports, the student email report, and the profile account PSAs on an active IRL. So the no CCL report here is the no core course timeline, and then the no scholastic team affiliations. Those are both reports that are not applicable to Division III. So I'm going to close those out. So the open task report action required is, those are the PSAs that have tasks that need to be answered by the member school. So it's most likely going to be a task for a matriculation date where we ask for the prospect's date of full-time enrollment. Again, this has to be completed by the member school. The open task report all is a list of all PSAs with any open tasks. So you need to know what tasks you are personally responsible for, which is what the action required task is great. Task report is great for, but it's also important to know what other tasks need to be fulfilled to get to a decision. So if there is an open amateurism task, that means that that PSA is not ready for a decision. And then lastly, the student email report is literally just a list of all the email addresses for every student you've got on IRL. Can be very handy in case your coach needs to get in contact with anybody or you need to get in contact with somebody leading up to them coming to campus or while they are on campus. So I am going to show you the action required report and what it looks like by checking on the box next to the open task report action required. And I'm going to hit the get report. So here we see that there's only one student athlete who has a task for the enrollment verification document needed. Again, this is the matriculation date task. You can run the PSA detail report that we just talked about earlier about this PSA specifically to get the full task language and directions to complete the task. What's really nice about this report is that you can export all of them as an Excel, or again, you can export it as a PDF so you can share it with the appropriate coaching staff if there is anything they need to get their student athletes to do. The certification status report and the open task report, they'll give you a snapshot in time, right? Are they certified or are they not? Or do they have an open task right now? If you want to be kept up to date with the account status, then we need to talk about the track student function. We also call it track PSA. So if I call it that, just know that they are the same thing. So back at regional rules, we took a straw poll to see if it would be easier to auto enroll PSAs in the track PSA function. And it was a resounding yes. So starting this past summer, each school's first contact was auto enrolled in track PSA. It included all open certifications and all future PSAs that would be added to IRL. So now that that first person in the contact list is going to be actively notified of any new task that's assigned to an account or any decision that is rendered basically in real time. I think within, I think by next business day, you would get that notification through the track PSA function. So that is a great thing that we're really excited we were able to get done for Division III this year. Let's talk more about what statuses you might see in a prospect's account. We did a more thorough review of this of the various amateurism decisions back in the webinar back in March. So I'm going to keep this brief. I will add a link to that webinar in the chat, but you can see the pending review. This means that we're not done reviewing an account. There could be open tasks, or it could be that we've closed the task and just haven't gotten around to actually reviewing whether we can provide a final decision. Final certified means that you are eligible to compete immediately, but then we have the final certified with conditions. So this is a delayed enrollment condition. It would include loss of seasons of competition and a year of residence. And the final not certified decision means that there was a bylaw 12 violation that we identified. It would require that the school submit student athlete reinstatement on the PSA's behalf through RSRO. It is up to the member school to submit that reinstatement request, but you would do it the same way you would as if you had identified a violation on campus. And then lastly, you might see a not applicable decision. This generally means that when we are looking at one division, we saw a potential issue with another division and we weren't comfortable being able to provide a decision for all divisions. So we just set the division that they don't have an active IRL for to not applicable. So the takeaway here is for the not applicable status, if you see one in Division 3 and you need a Division 3 decision, reach out to our customer service team to get it set back to pending review. They will go back in line to be looked at once you've done that. And we just talked about the instance where the Eligibility Center requests information from the member school. So let's talk about how you would go about giving us that information. So I will start out by pointing out that there are some things that we will ask you to email to us and some things we will ask you to upload or submit through the membership portal. We will tell you very specifically how we expect you to submit the information in the task, but right now we are specifically going to be talking about submitting information through the membership portal. So I'm going to hover over the resources tab right now and show you two things. So the first thing is the upload documents option. This is not something that you're going to be using very often in Division 3, and if you need to, the customer service team will likely direct you to use that option. What I'd like to focus a little bit more time on here is the matriculation letter, because this is something that when you submit information, it'll likely be the matriculation letter that we're asking for. So we're going to click this option. And here we are going to search for the PSA the same way that we have before, using their ID number, their name. This is searching your IRL, so it's only pulling from the prospects that you've already activated. So here I'm going to choose the men's golf team, and I'm not going to choose any of these options, but you can choose, has the PSA already, do they have an open task for a matriculation letter, or do they already have a matriculation letter on file? But I'm going to leave both of those as NA, and I'm going to click the Go Search option. So here again, we're going to select a prospective student athlete that we want to submit the matriculation letter form for. I'm going to select the Submit button, at which point it's going to open up the PSA's information and ask you to fill in the information. So what was the first date of full-time enrollment? Why don't we just say it was September 2nd, 2024. Is the date above associated with an NCAA school? You can choose yes or no. It's going to ask you either for the NCAA school name or the name of the other institution where the PSA went. It asks you to fill in your name and title, email address. Choose I affirm to the best of my knowledge that the records are accurate, and choose the Submit Request option. So here, the one thing I want to talk about is what are we using the matriculation letter for? So the easiest way to explain the matriculation letter is that we are asking to confirm if the prospect has ever enrolled full-time at any college or university anywhere in the world, or are they enrolling full-time for the first time at your institution. It impacts the delayed enrollment review because delayed enrollment stops at the point of full-time enrollment. and the legislation changes if something happens before full-time enrollment or if it happens after full-time enrollment. So that is why if there's something that's going to change the application of the legislation, that is when we're going to ask for a matriculation letter. The matriculation letter information can be submitted by any person on the school's contact list or anybody who has access to the membership portal. So again, this is up to 10 different people, and it is done electronically. This is the way we are going to be doing that to submit the matriculation letter information. All right, you are also going to use the membership portal to update the school's sponsored sports list. So if you're adding programs or taking them away, you'll want to make sure that your sponsored sports list is up to date at least once a year. So likely sometime in the summer as we approach a new academic cycle. So to do this, you are going to go to the IRL tab and choose the Update Sports dropdown. So on the left side, you're going to find your school's sponsored Division III sports. On the right side will be all other NCAA sports. So the right is a comprehensive list of all sports the NCAA offers. I don't believe that Division III offers archery, but you will find it on the list anyways. So you'll just want to make sure that the sports on the left matches up the sports that your school does offer and make sure that list is up to date. To do that, you're going to click add sports. So I'll add men's archery. Are you sure you want to add this to your school? So yes. To do the opposite, to deactivate, you're just going to choose the deactivate option and your sport has been deactivated. The NCAA does not monitor nor audit sponsorship lists. So it's the responsibility of the school to maintain an updated list. And again, best practice is to review this list annually. The last thing I want to show you in the membership portal is our resources tab to show you the number of things that we have available. You can keep in mind the next time you have a question about the Eligibility Center or about your certifications. So from any screen, you can select the resource links tab, which will bring you to this page. I will direct you to the bottom of the middle column where you will find the Division III specific section. You're going to find things like our frequently asked questions, amateurism flyers, but at the bottom of this section, you'll find a link to the Division III membership newsletter. We've talked quite a bit about this already today, but here's another plug for, again, our D3 membership newsletter. Daniel is going to go through a number of our other resources for you. So he'll point out some more information. In particular, resources are updated annually, so you'll want to check back up here for the most recent versions. Now, at this time, I'm going to hand it back to Daniel to go over some of those final resources with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Erica. I know that was a lot of information that we presented today. So please be sure and know that this will be sent out to you all after today's presentation. You can go through all the recordings, everything that Erica walked through at your own pace, at your own speed. So just be aware of that. I know that was a lot of information. Thank you again, Erica, for walking through all that information today. Talking about some resources that we have, this QR code will take you to that customer service number and customer service email. All these resources that you see in the blue are all going to be clickable when that presentation is sent to you. I'll put another note out there again for the Division III newsletter, signing up for that. That's an important one, as well as the D3 amateurism flyer. So if we go here to the next slide, we'll get more resources out for everyone. More QR codes. So we are on X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. These are our social media channels that we strongly suggest you follow us on, whatever platform you may be on. Please feel free to give us a follow as important updates also come out from all of these platforms. All right, I'm going to leave these QR codes up for a moment. Feel free to scan those while we take a couple of questions in the chat that we had today. I'm going to bring Erica back on here for a moment so she can answer a couple of questions that we had Erica, first question I have for you is what do I do if I do not see the EC tile in my apps?
Great question. So the very first place we want to start is making sure we have access to the membership portal. And to do that, you would want to talk to your applications administrator, make sure they have granted you access to that EC tile app in My Apps. From there, you should have access to view the membership portal and see all of the things that we've talked about today. From there, I think one of our second most popular questions that we've been getting is about the matriculation date and what is the matriculation date. So matriculation date, when we ask for that, is asking for the date of initial full-time enrollment. So the first time that your student athlete sat in class at a college or university anywhere in the world. So that could be a 2-year school, a non-NCAA 4-year college, an international school, or it could be a Division I or Division II institution, and they're transferring into Division III for the first time, or it could be that they're coming to Division III as an incoming freshman with no previous full-time enrollment. So we will just want to make sure that we have the most accurate date possible when filling out that matriculation date.
Awesome. Thanks, Erica. Thanks for coming on answering those questions. I know we're getting to the end here, so any last questions you may have, feel free to put that in the chat with those emails that we talked about. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'll point out one more QR code. If you could just take a quick survey on how we did today, any suggestions that you may have for future webinars, we greatly appreciate it. Just will take you a couple minutes of your time. Just a reminder, this is being recorded. This will be sent to you after today. So watch that email in the coming days with this presentation and recording. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out of your busy schedule, and thanks for all that you do.